So a few days ago, we got the major bombshell announcement that Vanguard is getting a history collection, and that in that history collection, we get some game-changing stride changes. Today, I wanted to go over how impactful these will be in each of their clans. So we're basically going to be ranking, is this stride going to change the clan? Is it going to improve the clan? What kind of impact can we expect? Before that though, I want to show you something absolutely gorgeous. Zero Damage Gaming now has deck boxes. I am so excited to finally be able to share this with you. I've been wanting something like this for a long time now. I'm super hyped for them. They'll be available at the link in the description. You can use the code Solemn for a discount. As you can see, they have like a top compartment where you can fit like your dice. You can see right here. Take that out and then you can check it out like here. This can always detach if you want. Then right here you have your deck. Ho, spoiler alert. We're going to be covering this very soon in the video as well. And then we also have like different colors. So this is like a brushed black. It's kind of like a jeans style maybe. But then you also have red and then you also have blue. And basically every single design is available in all colors. So you can choose which one you prefer. Personally, after seeing them like this in real life, I would have loved to have blue on this design in particular. But hey, it's up to you. You know, you can mix and match a little bit. So super hyped for these. A bunch of your favorite Zero Damage Gaming designs are available right now on deck boxes on the site. Go pick them up. Use the code Solemn. And if you still need Vanguard cards, you can go to 50cards.shop and use the code Solemn for a discount as well. Oh, also important, this does fit a full deck with markers and G-Zone double sleeved. That was also crucial for me, obviously. So as you can see right here, we have an entire deck, markers, G-Zone, main deck, double sleeved and everything. Fits nicely, so you don't need like anything else. Super big fan of these. I can't say enough cool things about them. So now right here, as you can see, again, it is very important. I will not be saying, oh, this stride will be the best stride. It will more so be like, how impactful is this? A good example of this, in my opinion, is spikes. While the spike interactions that we will have access to seem really good, spikes already has an insane ride-up anyway. So the impact this stride will have on how good this clan is will not be as big as, for example, something like Murakumo, who is currently like super mediocre and then might become really strong once that comes out. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it, just how much impact we can expect this to have on the clan. So let's go over it right now. First of all, we have OTT. So my issue with the OTT one is that OTT already has a really good ride-up, and the ride-up with the new stride isn't going to be so much more lethal. So for that reason, I'm putting in maybe. I do know Mo, who is like the best OTT player in the world, is very excited for it. So maybe I'm missing something. If I think about a Susanoo V ride-up, I'm already plussing, I'm already pushing, I'm already getting a protect. And what's this going to do? Plus as well? Like, you know, I'm not really sure about it. Next, we have Victor. Victor, I'm going to put in changes the deck. Now, I don't necessarily know if Victor is now going to be a top tier deck, but I do think currently Victor is like not great at all. And with this change, it fixes the biggest issue, and that is that Victor does not have a grade 2 game whatsoever. So now suddenly you get a really powerful ride-up. I know the V ride-up is kind of fine as well, but the fact that this will draw 2 and then maybe let you draw into pieces and so forth means I think this does have like a meaningful change for the deck. Next, we have Blade Master. I find it very hard to believe that Blade Master will have major impact here. Kagero already had a ride-up. If anything, that was the one thing it did have, and now you have another one. And I don't really think this one is better than what they have right now. Next, we have a Vanquisher. I do think this changes the deck. However, I do have to say I've also seen some cope. I've seen some people saying, oh, this is going to be like the best deck ever because now you can ride up and then do this stride and then you can do full Bronto on top. Or if you go second, you can ride up and then you can stun verse, go back down again, re-stride into this and then do full Bronto on top. And those are cool interactions. But to pretend that that's like the most broken thing you've ever seen, I don't know about that. So I'm definitely putting it in changes the deck because I do think this is a better ride-up than they currently have access to, because the Vanquisher ride-up right now, while strong, requires a billion pieces. Whereas now, maybe it will not really require a billion pieces anymore. Next, we have Big Belly. As a big Great Nature fan, I'm very sad to say that I'll be putting Big Belly in Nah. And the reason is, Great Nature's issue has not been its ride-up ever since Candelaria came out. Candelaria is the promo that makes tokens, and Candelaria Candelaria together with V Big Belly and Spool Mary has basically made it so that when you ride up, you're gonna plus a billion already. That is not the issue. The issue is that before that turn 3, your deck does absolutely nothing. And so now you can trade one type of plussing for another type of plussing. That might be decent, but it doesn't fix the actual issue the deck has. Beyond that, the deck is also missing a dust-like win con, I feel, and I don't think this is bringing that either. So for that reason, I don't know. If Candelaria didn't come out yet, this would be a meaningful change for the deck, but now I'm not really seeing it. Also, Big Belly's on-stride really isn't that great. It's an on-hit, kind of awkward. I do have to say though, this is without testing. This is purely theory crafting, so maybe Big Belly becomes tier 0, tier minus 50 even. I don't know. Next we have Claret Sword. I think Claret Sword goes in Nah. It requires a lot of arguments for me to believe that Claret Sword is gonna be a better ride than Luard. Whichever Luard, you know, any type of Luard deck. I find it hard to believe this is gonna outshine Luard. Luard already has an incredible ride-up. Luard could already grade 2 game. Luard already has a major impactful first stride. And so this is kind of just like, are you gonna really trade all of that for this? I don't think so. Like, Luard's already eating good. They don't need this. They need other stuff though. Next we have Yasuye. This changes the deck in my opinion. So right now, the only playable variant of Murakumo is Shirayuki, and that deck feels like a glass cannon. Now, the things I've seen so far from Yasuye with the trains and stuff also feels like a glass cannon. I've seen people do some crazy combos and go like, wow, going first, this is gonna be crazy. But then you gotta wonder, let's say you go second, are you still gonna ride this and not get a gift marker and then stride into, well, your on-hit stride because you have to or you don't have a gift marker? Are you really dedicating all your slots to these fancy multi-attacks only to die going second? I don't really know about that. It's possible, you know, there's a lot of solving to do. For now, I do think this changes the deck because I do think this fixes a lot of the issues the deck has, but I don't know how good it'll be. It'll definitely be like one of the better picks though. Next we have Fenrir. I'm gonna put Fenrir in maybe. I think you're gonna have to give me some very solid arguments for how this is better than the V Fenrir, which has like disruption plays and so forth, but I'm open to it. Next we have Mega Colony. I'm gonna put Mega Colony in Impactful, our very first clan in Impactful. So Mega Colony's best thing is that it can grade 2 game like mad. Like, you can take any deck, not a write down, but any other deck and grade 2 game against a Mega Colony build I make, I will beat you in the grade 2 game every fucking time. That's also why Order Colony was so crazy. You will ride up. I don't care. You will ride up and I will Gridora you. Giraffa is incredible. Beetle Armor is incredible. Brilliant Blister is disgusting. High Class Mod is amazing. Like, all of these cards are just grade 2 gaming machines. The ride up, however, always sucked ass. Even riding up into Gridora grade 3 and locking out a column, some decks still would beat you through it. You just didn't have any hand because your plussing mostly came from an elongated grade 2 game. You could say, oh, but what about the Cradle markers? But most Cradle markers were breaking even anyway. The Gridora V ride-up was something I tried. It was pretty cute. It was like a Mordred turn essentially. But the issue was then, you know, you basically had like this dip in tempo. Like turn 3-4 was a really harsh dip, I felt. And I think this might actually fix it because now suddenly you can ride up into this. Suddenly get 2 protects, which is really solid. We ignore the on stride and we ignore the stride skill. Just 2 protects and instantly have his GB2 live. And that is what I think is going to be the big deal. The fact that you can slow down virtually any turn just with the GB2 is incredible. For people who don't know, this card basically says that at GB2, if your opponent places a rear guard, Soul Blast 2, rest it. So you can literally just wait until your opponent puts down their most important extender and just go, rest, better have a second. And if you have enough soul, you can just do it twice. You can go like, rest, rest, better have a third. So you could literally ride up against Luard, wait until they have Dagda. They place the Dagda, rest, and the whole turn falls apart. Now they need to hit a stand on that Dagda, and then you still have Brilliant Blister even. So overall, just the fact that this turns on that GB2 and might make it so you can ride up and then slow down any crucial stride for 1 turn, that kind of fixes that tempo dip that you feel when playing this clan on turn 3 and 4. Now again, this is all theory, we'll have to test, but I do think there's some interesting options there. Now next we have Bermuda. I do have to say this is the wrong Loris. This is Wonder Voice or something, and I think the actual initial one was Miracle Voice. Bermuda, I've seen people coping with this. I've seen people go like, oh, now they can stride when you're on grade 1. And that is true, but that still requires you to do the superior ride, which was never that consistent. And they could already stride on your grade 2. and you were minusing 1 billion to do it, like, the whole Selena Superior ride is something I have personally coped on a lot. I tried to make Riviere work many times, and it's just, you know, a glass cannon deck. It never really did super great, and now suddenly adding Laris to that doesn't feel great, especially because this would be taking the slot of Marianne. I think Marianne is a crazy card not many people are respecting. And so now just, I don't know, that feels like a lot of cope. I think where this is really gonna shine is not a high roll deck. Just the fact that Bermuda now has a solid ride-up, get 2 force markers, draw a card of that, you know, that feels pretty cool. However, and the reason I put it in maybe is, if I needed a Bermuda ride-up that gave me multiple force markers, I'd play Reindeer. Bermuda has this already. It's like people are going, whoa, ride-up and getting multiple markers, that is crazy. I'm like, bruh, I played that at Worlds. Like, I'm happy that other clans are getting this, but seriously, Reindeer already did this. Sometimes even more. We didn't get 2 markers, sometimes we get 4. If you find an Nesca, you get 5. So for that reason, there's definitely potential there, and that's why I'm not putting it in Na. It might even go to Impactful. Bermuda is like a deck with so many high quality cards. It's absolutely incredible. You know what? I'll put it even in Impactful. I do not think the Riviere high roll stuff is really where you're gonna have to look for it. If you got the Riviere high roll, you were already winning even before Laris. The issue is when you don't. Next, we have Harry. Harry, I am really excited for. I'm gonna put that straight into Impactful. Or you know what? No, I'll put it in Changes the Deck. And the reason is Harry's issue has always been that it has a dogshit ride-up. Like, whenever you would have to ride up into Harry, you had not been plussing for 3 whole turns, and now you had to survive an entire onslaught, but once you survive that onslaught, you are going to go plus 1 million cards and build an insane hand, and then do some Nightmare Doll loopy-loop where you play the dragon and so forth, and all of that gets fixed in this one change. So suddenly Harry has a ride-up, it gets access to, because you're now on like the original Harry Magia thing, right? So you get access to the, is it the PG or the G-Guard? You can get one of those disrupts back. And then more importantly, your GB is already alive, so you don't even need to G-Guard first to turn on those skills. So this feels like a really big impactful fix. Harry kind of has the same issue, I feel, as Mega Colony, where it had like that turn 3 dip, but more importantly, it also didn't have a turn 1 or 2 plussing. So it's like, it's just dipping all the way until turn 4 where it then popped off. So the fact that now their turn 3 becomes like a really incredible setup makes me feel that this changes the deck. Next, Night Rose. Of course, my baby. You've already seen her as well. I'm gonna put this into Impactful. And now you might think, why is it not changes the deck? Here's my issue. If other decks are gonna start riding up because of this change, Night Rose actually starts sucking ass. Because if you give Grand Blue first stride, you will notice, wow, this deck doesn't do anything on that first stride. You have to Obadiah. And if you Obadiah, you just revive 2. Obadiah is a setup stride, but it only revives 2 if you didn't G-Guard yet. So Night Rose really wants to ride up, but now other people are gonna ride up on it, and that first stride is just pathetic. Whereas other decks like Spike Brothers, like Luard, have like these incredibly lethal first strides. Night Rose just doesn't, unless you play Navigator. But if you start playing like a bunch of these Navigator type cards, where you set up your drop zone early so that you can bad bounty them, then I feel you're kind of missing out on the fact that your ride-up is getting incredible. Because if you do Navigator setups, why would you not just ride up into Night Rose V and kill your opponent? You know, like the Night Rose ride-up here is cute because it sets up your hand and your GB2 plays and so forth, but like Night Rose V already revives more than this play is gonna do. And if you are set up because of Navigator, you can kill. You can do Skull Dragon, Nitro, Skull Dragon. That is so much better than anything I've seen so far. And I'm like, why would I even do that? Now, that doesn't mean I don't want to run this card. I definitely think you are running it, because now going first, you suddenly have a bigger hand. You can ride up without being afraid. Those double protects, I know a lot of people are like talking shit like, wow, Excel is gonna really abuse this, but protect really sucks. Like, bro, 2 perfect guards isn't bad. Like, I am excited for 2 perfect guards. And there's a lot of copium decks right now that are really excited for 2 Excel circles, where I'm like, I'll take the protect markers any day. So 2 protect markers is like really solid. I'm excited to still play this card in the deck, because I think as a write-up it's good, but you need to remember that the biggest issue Grand Blue has had for a long time now is that its first stride sucks ass unless it's already G-guarded, and now a lot of people are gonna give you that first stride and you're gonna be really sad. So for that reason, it's impactful and not changes the deck. But this is just because, you know, I was very excited when I first saw the thing, and then I started like thinking about the way this will play out in my head and I got a little less excited. Still, big excite. I mean, wait, let me show you the beauty here. Like, let me show you the goo, right? Oh, also loving the deck box. I mean, look, zerodamagegaming.com, use the code Solemn. And again, I'm personally gonna reorder, but then with the blue inner. So you need to basically imagine this blue with and then this gray border with then this art. Oh, so excited for that. So like, I am excited to run this card. I was just more excited when I hadn't really given it much thought, you know? But overall, super excited for it. Oh, look at this art. Oh, and then look at this combination. This is what it's all about. Overall, though, I haven't really tested this much yet because I'm very afraid that if I do, I'll start learning matchups post-history collection and we still have a Spring Fest. Built it this way because I was really excited to just see what it would look like and like just get that feeling for a little second. But I haven't really tested it just much yet, so it's currently still theory. But really excited for this change, though. So yeah, impactful, but not changes the deck. Then Gallop. I'm gonna put it in Na. The reason is, I think Die Liner is the most crucial part in this deck, and when you don't have it, you don't have shield. And it's not like this will flip up Geoma Glass, you know, it will flip up the on-hit stride. So I just don't think that is gonna be that great. Next, we have Chrono Jet. I think that meaningfully changes the deck. The fact that you get access to Time Leap shenanigans on turn 3, and you're not even requiring your opponent to stay on 2 to like get into it from Sea Breeze, and also doing like Melons in the force markers and so forth, that seems like it's gonna be very impactful. Next, we have Alt Mile. I'm gonna put Alt Mile in maybe. The reason is, I do think it's incredible that you will now always have your GB life for the Crystal Luster turns, and then also the fact that you will have force markers, so you will hit over defensive triggers on your Crystal Luster turns. So even in like non-Alt Mile decks, this could be really interesting just for the ride-up, get a bunch of markers, and then nuke your opponent on Crystal Luster. But I haven't really found anything where I think this is gonna be good in. So like, the theory of this into Crystal Luster sounds cracked, but then everything else is still like a black hole that needs solving. So for that reason, I'm putting it in maybe. Definitely not a Na, but I don't know yet if it's gonna be a change to the deck or an impactful. Next, Asha. Man, Asha, this is hard. I remember a time where Asha would make fields of 60,000 before any other clan could do that. And I also know there were like broken bullshit interactions this clan could do. But I also know this clan has not done anything in forever. But all those insane things were locked behind GB. So I don't know. I do know it has insane defensive plays. Like, you G-guarding into Antero and like going, oh, I'm now at 37, eat my dick, is like insane. I'm not 37, 38, or again, it's now 36. So there's like potential here, but then at the same time, if this doesn't majorly change the clan, it goes straight into oh no. So I'm gonna put it in maybe, because I simply do not know. And if you're a boomer like me, you do know a time where Neo could make like incredibly scary columns, and a lot of that was GB based, so it's entirely possible they now do something crazy. Then again, they don't have the stand trigger, right, Lisbeth? I don't know. I'm gonna put it here. Next, Tavas. I'm gonna put Tavas in maybe, but it's a very, very almost nah for me. And here's my reason. Did you know that Tavas already does all of this? Like, if you go, wow, Tavas is now able to draw cards when it rides up. Yes, it's called V Tavas into Magnolia. It already does that. You go, wow, but now Tavas will have multi-attack when it rides up. Yes, it's called Lambros, and it already does that. You can go, what? But it will end the turn on 2 Excel circles. Yes, if you don't ride down, which is what you can't do here anyway, it already does that. It's V Tavas. So the only thing you do get now is GB. Now, I'm excited for this idea. You know, the fact that you could get a Melania or a Shipra Live or a Saberflow sounds super great, but this deck already pluses like crazy with Pursuit and Nerissa and so forth anyway. So I'm just struggling to find how this is at all an upgrade beyond the fact that this GB being higher quicker will make it so Alexandros becomes better. But that is still a big maybe for me. So I think this is like one of the clans that is changed the least, because it technically already had access to all of this except for the GB. And it will basically be the question, you know, markers aside, plussing aside, multi-attack aside, does the GB change anything? If it doesn't, this change does nothing and might even be a downgrade for Tavas. But if that GB does do something, and again, it would have to be from Shipra and Melania, but where the hell are you getting that CB from? And is going +1 even that great? Beyond that, it might just go straight into Na. So this is probably like the lowest maybe on the list for me. Next, we have Messiah. I think Messiah is gonna be changes the deck. And the reason for this is that suddenly you have 2 Messiahs flipped up in your G-zone, right? And I think that sounds crazy. Everything else I'm not really sure about. I do know Messiah has like a lot of multi-attack little plans it has access to, but also a lot of that did depend on the stride you were striding into. So there's gonna be like some multi-attack things that are cute, but to me what's more interesting is the fact that Integral will be way quicker now. Now you could argue Messiah already had a great ride-up in Freeze Ray, which gave them time. Maybe they preferred time over this, I don't know. But so I do think this is like a meaningful change for the deck. It might also be an impactful, but yeah, it does definitely change the deck. The quicker Integral is no joke. Next we have Angel Feather. I think this change is impactful. The reason is the fact that you will have GB2 live, and now you will have Broken Heart and her GB2 instantly live, I think is pretty big. Like, Gavrail was a really tanky deck back in the day because the game was slow enough to where getting the Broken Heart and so forth shenanigans on turn 4 or 5 was actually a big deal. Now the game sped up and it's like, I don't care about turn 4 or 5, I'll be dead by then. But if you get that quicker, okay, that's interesting. Also, this gives Gavrail some multi-attack on turn 3, which is cool. Now, if you just want to kill people with Humiel, that's fine too. But the issue is Sanctitude exists, Heal Guards exist. And so I do think the multi-attack might be more interesting. So we'll see, but I do think even if this doesn't end up being a top deck, this is still an impactful change for the deck. Next we have Gurgit. I think Gurgit, this definitely changes the deck, and the reason for it is that a bunch of Excel markers is good if you rewrite into V-Gurgit. You also already had Spearex. You also get way quicker access to Ultima, or like more impactful access to Ultima. So now that I think about it, you already have like Percival or whatever his name is. That's also a bunch of markers, and that really didn't change anything either. So maybe I'm gonna put it at the top of impactful, because like technically the deck already has a ride up, the deck already has an instant stride, and we don't see it competing like crazy anyway. So maybe it doesn't really change the deck. Then again, I don't know. The fact that Gurgit does multi as well, builds you a field. I think impactful is basically where it belongs here. Next, Shiranui. Nubatama has gate kept me once from Worlds. I'm not gonna talk shit on this clan too much because it will always bite me in the back. I do think Nuba is actually really solid, and I do think giving it a ride up that isn't Hanzo is gonna do a lot. Because like, remember, the best stride this deck usually has access to, except for markers, you know, being so ubiquitous, is Rene. And the fact that you will now ride up, definitely survive, and then have instant GB3 Rene access seems pretty cool. Having 2 protects is also insane for this clan. They have the most unfair guard restrict in the game, and now suddenly you're giving them the hand and the ride up potential. They have a bunch of really good GB cards as well that we simply haven't been able to use because, well, GB, this deck wasn't really reaching that reliably. So I do think this is impactful for them. Is it as impactful as the fact that Darkface is a ride up now? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe this is better. Maybe like this makes more sense. Next, Tachi. I'm gonna put Tachi in maybe. I know a lot of people were going crazy about this. Well, Tachi with all these excels and blah blah blah, but this stride doesn't have Engorge. So what are you gonna do? Tachi already has an incredible ride up, and that has never fixed the clan because they're so piece reliant. Going second aren't that great and so forth. But it's definitely possible that there's some crazy interaction I'm overlooking. So I am putting it in maybe. Oh, also I just noticed that they put in the correct Laris. So let's swap these out. Then finally we have Pike Brothers here. I think this does not change the deck. I'm gonna put this in impactful. Yes. Okay. Why am I not putting it in changes the deck? Because this is one of the clans people have been talking about the most. They're like, whoa, we're now gonna have all this multi blah blah blah. The reason is this deck already has the best ride up in the game. The fuck are you talking about? Like, people are saying, whoa, we are able to do like ride up plays now. We already have Greed on Max Rising Nova plays, ending on 1 billion cards in hand. You've clobbered your opponent to death, and you follow it up with an amazing first stride. So either people don't ride up and you get like Greed on your brains out, or you do ride up and you get Gallied your brains out. So how is this any different? How in any scenario is this different from now? So for that reason, I'm putting it impactful, because like, yes, I'm well aware this is going to be like very powerful interactions, but it's not that meaningfully different from what they're currently doing. This deck already has the ride up. It already has the first stride. Now you just gave it another one. Finally, Sharot. Wow, I'm gonna put that straight into nah. The day DI gets cards that are better than NLK, I'm gonna be so scared, but also, why would you ever run this over NLK? It's a sad day. I even have this thing in SP. I'm a fanboy of DI, but I don't see how this could ever do anything for the clan personally. Except for, you know, make you survive. No, I don't see it. I'm sorry, DI mains out there. I'm gonna have to put this in now for now. So that is basically how I see these cards impacting. Again, not necessarily in order of, oh, this is gonna be the best deck. Just how much does this change the deck? You know, does it go from shit tier to top tier or something along those lines? I think this is, you know, pretty accurate. So that is all for today. Again, if you still need a beautiful playmat or now a deck box, go to zerodamagegaming.com and use the code Solemn for a discount. If you still need cards, go to 50cards.shop and use the code Solemn for a discount. There's also a lot of set 9 still, so if you want some set 9 goodies, go pick that up. And I will see you soon. Ciao.